This is something we carefully considered as we wanted to make sure our marketability could create links between this, meaning that the materialistic items and costumes fitted well not only with our theme but allowed the target audience to feel connected to the song. As well as gathering feedback throughout the stages of our music video, we also gathered feedback through our ancillary tasks. As well as getting feedback from my friends and classmates, I looked at conventions of pop music digipacks. For example, I looked at Teenage Dream digipack by Katy Perry. This showed me that most female pop digipacks had some element of voyeurism, especially in the front cover. This is something I tried to include within my own work. Also, it showed me there is a link between the music video and the artwork. For instance, there are shots from the music video used as the images. This is something that I tried to incorporate within my own work. This was done as well as using feedback. Using feedback with my digipack was just as crucial as using it for my music video, as I wanted to make sure I was creating an effective package so that the audience would recognise it as part of one package. For our digipack, we also received feedback on various stages and drafts. The first feedback, we gathered feedback through our classmates, and overall the feedback was: change the font, photos chosen are effective, arrange the photos in a different order, placement of the font is effective, blend the less irrelevant text in more, such as production company, and images are slightly blurry. We knew to start with a lot of the feedback for our digipack would be negative due to the fact this is the first time we've created an album artwork. This meaning that we paid even more attention to our marketability, as even though we did research on what font to use, the target audience picked the font when we put it on our artwork, it didn't fit. Therefore, we used the second favourite, and this worked a lot better. We then rearranged the photo, as this was another thing we received from our feedback. We did not realise to start with how important the image placement was. This was something that our marketability taught us. By collecting feedback from our class, we were gathering feedback from people within as well as outside our urban tribe, this meaning that our digipack would open up to a wider audience. Next, we gathered feedback from Facebook, as again this relates to our target audience, Ras and Trendies, as it is said by Mathesoli that they use social network sites daily. The next stage we received feedback, and this suggested that our digipack relates to the theme and music video. The kaleidoscope effect was popular, so use it. Bolder font is needed. Artist and album name font is effective. Keep the font the same colour and style. As you can see, the amount of improving feedback has decreased, and rather than it being big differences, it's only minor ones. This showing how we paid attention and learnt from our audience feedback, as we had to start with a vague idea of how to create a digipack. The only conventions we knew about were the ones we researched from real-life examples such as Katy Perry's digipack. As previously mentioned, I examined this one in more detail to make sure my digipack conformed to conventions. Therefore, we changed everything that our target audience suggested to our liking. So, for example, instead of changing the font to make it bolder, we played around with the effects to make it seem as though it was bolder. We also got feedback for our final piece. This feedback was gathered on Twitter and by mouth. This suggested that our digipack fitted with the theme and style. Incorporating the kaleidoscope effect was a good idea. It looked professional. Should have capitalised all of the song listing. It was effective how we used photos from both scenes. The lip one is the best one. From using audience feedback, I was able to learn how to make an effective digipack, making it suitable for the marketability as well as conforming to the conventions of the genre it belonged to. This ensuring that the digipack looked professional and fitted in with the theme I had already tried to create, making sure the digipack looked as though it was part of the same brand identity that my music video belonged to. This was something I had also done when creating my magazine advert, for that there was many drafts for this again, so I wanted to make sure it was done effectively. I also used real media text to help create my magazine advert. For example, I looked at Ellie Goulding's Light artwork to see what the conventions of the pop genre adverts were. This showed me that there should still be elements of voyeurism, but slightly less subtle than in a digipack. It also showed me that the typography should reflect the style and theme of my music video. This is something I tried to incorporate when picking my font, as I wanted to make sure my work looked like one product. Emily, my personality reflects rather colourful and bright, which you can probably tell from our first draft. Therefore, our audience feedback was very crucial, as after creating our magazine advert, we realised we weren't the best designers. Our feedback from our first draft was: the pictures used are nice, the images aren't appropriate to the medium, typography needs to be changed, Good idea to use the star rating as it's appropriate to the genre. It's too bright and too colourful. As you can tell, a lot of the feedback I received was negative. This is down to it being my first draft and I was just trying out a potential picture. From this feedback I can tell that using the image that I had used, even though it's coming to be nice, did not look effective. When looking back at the photo after receiving my feedback, I realised that a full-panel picture did not look right and broke away from the conventions of the pop genre in a negative way. I changed the picture to a close-up of Emily. This then made the positioning of the text a lot easier, as there was space to put it without covering up Emily's face. I also tried a different font, one that was a lot easier to read and looked more professional. Also, with regards to the font, I made sure there was less colour. I used only black and white, which proved effective. The next set of feedback was gathered from text message. It was still too colourful. Direct mode of address was good. The font needed changing, and the production company takes up too much of the focus as it's too bright. For this I decided to change the font so it's more swirly, fitting in with the theme. This then making it seem more relatable to the music video, creating brand identity. Making it seem like it was part of one product was effective, as it was something that often happened in real life music videos. Furthermore, we took on board all the feedback and it taught us that a bright and eye-catching magazine article is not necessarily the best and one that's most fitting for the target audience. This then meant we had to make various changes to our magazine, for example making it look less busy by making the font and colours coherent. Next I gathered feedback through Twitter, which is sourcing our marketability directly, as it said they are often used social networking sites such as Twitter. I also gathered feedback from my classmates. This is because they have knowledge on the conventions of magazine artwork and has also viewed my final cut, so I know for sure that they would give constructive feedback. The feedback I gathered was, the font still needed to be changed, although there is an improvement. Change the production company logo. A good picture. Colours of the font still need to be improved as they don't fit. With regards to feedback, we paid more attention to the typography and the colours of it than anything else. This is because it's been something that I've been commented on all of the drafts so far. It's also something that can suggest the style and audience of the magazine advert, and obviously this is where the information lies. Meaning that if it is illegible or doesn't fit in, it could turn the audience away from reading it. To combat this, I asked my marketability what font they preferred and what one they thought would be most fitting for my magazine. I used fonts from Dafont and asked classmates and Twitter to decide which one was their best. This then ensured that our audience would like the font as well as fit in with the genre. This is because the majority of our classmates are from the urban tribes, Ra and Trendies, and are familiar with magazine work. This then meant they would know the conventions of the magazine artwork and the font fitted. So those that commented on Twitter are also teenagers, and meaning that they're also part of the marketability we targeted. I then gathered more feedback on the improved version to further improve it. The feedback I gathered on social networking site as well as word of mouth. This is my fourth draft, so there was less improvements to be made. By gathering feedback, it helped with the development of my magazine. Some of the improvements were: change the layout of the text, the image relates to your video, make the colours a little less bright, make the text more readable, the font is effective in conveying genre and theme. As you can see, the feedback we received were all minor things, but still crucial, as it would ensure that our marketability liked our magazine advert. We changed the layout by putting the more important text first and in a different colour to the less important text. This then helped the more important text stand out, ensuring that it would be read first. Overall, by using audience feedback, it has helped me create an effective and professional magazine advert that sticks to conventions of the pop genre as well as being liked by the marketability. Also, when showing my audience my final cut, digipack and magazine advert, my target audience responded positively, meaning that I've successfully created what I set out to create. This is evident through the feedback I received on my final piece, ensuring that I created a professional looking brand. This also links into what Stuart Hall says about readings, and we have